Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about tech in real estate, tech for real estate investors. It's evolved pretty dramatically. And today I have Sharad Mehta with me. He's at the forefront of that, runs the RE Simply CRM. And we're going to talk about AI today and a lot of evolution that's kind of happening. It's happening faster than ever right now, really probably across every industry, but especially for real estate investors. So, Sharad, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, glad to have you in the office.
My
here.
pleasure.
So,
My pleasure.
Yeah. So I want to talk about tech. You're also a real estate investor.
I am.
And you've done, I know you still have rentals as well up in Indiana?
Do.
Okay.
I do about 60 properties, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So one of the best things, and I think I have this too, like started as a real estate investor, have done lots of deals and stuff like that, is as a service provider, you often are building the product you wish you had or that you wish you had when you were coming up or that you need now, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I used to live in Chicago, so I invest in Northwest Indiana market.
Yeah.
And bought my first property August 2010, a 2-unit rental property that I still own to this day. Then August 2015, I moved to Carlsbad, San Diego area where I live now. And at that point, I was doing about 40, 50 flips a year. And once I moved, I started looking at my business. I'm like, I need some sort of a system. I'm not in the area. I mean, there's a lot of inefficiencies. So Podio was pretty much the only software people were using back in the day.
Right.
I logged into Podio for like 2 minutes. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to use this. It just, it doesn't work. It's clunky. And then you need all these different software to just, patch it all together. I just didn't like the idea. So, I kind of did more research, didn't find anything that I liked. So 2016, I hired a couple of developers just to create something for myself. And we had 3 goals in mind. It had to be super simple to use, and that's the name Resimply. It had to be an all-in-one software, meaning one login, I log in, anyone from my company logs in. That's it. They don't need to log into any other software. And third was, I come from an accounting background, that it had to give us really good KPI. So that was kind of the idea behind Resimply when we started.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of CRMs out there now, but you're the only one that I know of that handles a lot of the accounting stuff.
Yeah,
I guess that was one of your requirements up front.
Yeah, we're the only one that handles the accounting. It's not something you have to use. You can still use QuickBooks, but as people start using us more, they start seeing more and more value of it, why they would want to use it. So I don't even use QuickBooks in my business. I haven't used it for about 3-4 years now.
Okay.
I just run everything on Resimply.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of other investors are doing.
Yeah. That's cool. So did you have any software background at all, or you just had a need as a real estate investor?
I did not have any software background. Okay. People look at me, they see I'm Indian, I own a tech company, they just assume that I must assume I must be the developer, but I'm not. I come from business background.
Yeah.
I have not written a line of code in Resimply, thank God for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the development team, we have development team, CS team, and marketing team. Yeah, but I was an active real estate investor, still actively investing, so I needed something for myself. That's where it came from.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's how entrepreneurship works, right? You just you have a need for something, you see a need, how other people could use it, and then you eventually are probably trying to solve your own problem, and then ultimately you're like, you know what, other people need this too. Yeah,
that was exactly it. Like the very first version of Resimply that we rolled out, it did not even have anything about wholesale assignment because I had never wholesaled a deal before, so it was just very acquisition and project management driven because that was my business. It's evolved over the years. At this point, I do about 20-25 deals a year, and we have many investors that are doing that much a month using Resimply, so it's definitely grown way beyond my needs, personal needs, but that's the evolution of kind of, we have bigger teams using it, so they give us feedback on, hey, this would be good. So it's been very interesting journey.
So when we were talking about this before we started, like when I first started in 2008, there were zero CRMs. I don't think until really Podio started coming around, which was probably 2013 or 14 or so, maybe. I don't know. But until that started coming around and people were customizing it, like there was nothing. It was spreadsheets or some other like contact manager.
There was no CRM for there was no CRM for real estate investors. Right. Yeah,
it was like something generic that we kind of bastardized to make work for us. You know? It would have like the wrong name, but like, well, let's just say that's the salesperson instead of agent or something else. It was just like, yeah. So now there's a ton of CRMs and a ton of technology, but let's just talk about kind of where we've been from a tech standpoint, because I remember I told you I left a tech startup to ultimately to get started in real estate investing. I left that in 2007, started real estate investing in 2008, and I'm not. I guess I wouldn't consider myself a tech guy. Some people might disagree with that a little bit, but I'm not like super tech savvy. I just know what I need, you know. But I remember thinking like this is the absolute Wild West. There's like no softwares at all. There's no technology at all. It was just like, you know, people were mostly using whiteboards and spreadsheets and like stuff like that, if anything. Legal pads full of stuff. But tech's come a long way. So like I guess talk a little bit about kind of where we've been and maybe a little bit about where – let's not go too far into where you see things going, because that's probably the main part of the show today. But like where do you think has it gone too far? Like there's just too many technologies out there today for real estate investors where it's confusing. Yeah,
I mean I would agree to it to some extent, but then people have different needs. You know, each company, each software is adding a unique value. I think that's where the person that is starting a CRM company or software company, for that matter, they need to be very clear about what value that they're adding. Like our philosophy is whatever we're doing, it needs to be fully natively integrated. Like it has to be one login. If someone has to use our platform, and then we will not ask them to go create an account on this system. That just is against our philosophy. So that's how
which is kind of how Podio was. You had all these outside third-party plugins.
But that's how like Salesforce is. Right. You know, they just give you basically a foundational piece, but then you have to go build it, get a website, then you have to go get a dialer, then you have to go get this for, you know, like data and whatnot. So our philosophy is now like if that's what you want, like if you want a different dialer in this, then we're not the solution. Like we have everything natively built in. Right. That's the value that we're adding, that you just log in, everything you need, it's just built in, you use it. And over time, like that's the biggest value that we see. Like we consistently ask our customers, hey, what do you love about recently? The number one thing is, hey, before I was using 4 or 5 different software. Now I just need one software. Right. Everyone on my team is there. So I think that's where like you have to be very clear on, you know, any business, like what is your USP that you're offering to the customer? Like why should someone use you? It might be a very, very specific need of, like we tell people that if you need something that's super highly customizable, we're not the solution for that. Like we built our platform a certain way for real estate investors, and that's who we add value for. Yeah. But if you need something super customizable, that you have a very unique business that you're running, and we're not the solution for you, then, you know, you probably a couple of other options out there that you should look into.
How do you balance, because, you know, we own Investor Machine, and people have asked us over the years, like, why don't you create a CRM? And I was like, I have no interest in that, right? And part of it is because I know forever people are going to say, why doesn't it do that? It could be like the perfect machine, you know, and then people are like, why doesn't it do that? Or when I click this, why doesn't it do that? Or, like, how do you balance between people wanting like features and you knowing you could build them, but keeping it kind of pure so that it doesn't get so muddied up? Because a lot of tech has done that, right? It's like you go to use it and you're like, this used to be easier and now it's so complicated.
Agreed.
And they just listened to somebody chirped in their ear too much to where they created, and now it's like spaghetti, you know?
No, I agree. I mean, that is a very tough thing for us to do. Like it's easy to create something that's complicated, but it's very difficult to create that something simple to use. So that's the challenge that we run into, like in our platform now. In about like 2 weeks, the only missing piece is like list pulling, which is coming out. But to be able to have, like, imagine list pulling, list stacking, driving for dollar, websites, CRM, dialer, AI built in, just to be able to do that. Like you can pull cash bars, just to be able to do that without going into different software. Like that is the challenge that we're solving as a company. Like it should be something natively built in, but not overwhelm anyone. Like it should be, oh, I see why they have it like this. Have we done the absolutely perfect job at it? No, but that's something we step back at times and like, okay, could we have done this better? What can we do to make it simpler? Not overcomplicate. So we do have some investors that have been with us for a while, and then we look at their feedback, and if it's something that people are asking, a majority of people are asking, then that's something we need to consider. But there are certain things that we work on that people aren't even asking, but we know it will add value.
Right.
Like some of the AI stuff that we're working on that people are not asking, but that's our job as a company to see, okay, people are making decisions based on, okay, what is it that they see right now in the business, but we're looking at, okay, what is going to add value to them 6 months or a year down the road. So those are some of the things that people are not expecting or not asking for, and we go back and say, okay, let's work on this because no one is asking for it, but we believe it will add tons of value.
Enough, yeah. Because it's interesting, when you have hundreds or thousands of clients, like they all have opinions, and you just have to sift through like those to know what's going to benefit the most people overall. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then if it's something very specific to an individual because they have a unique way of how they want to run their business, then we have to say, hey, we're sorry, we cannot do that. That's how it works in our platform. We don't have any plans to include that in our roadmap.
Right. Yeah. So one of the other benefits that you offer when you have a platform like this, which we're able to do this at Investor Machine and the Investor Fuel a little bit too, is when you're kind of gathering data like across a lot of people,
right?
And so you can see trends based on having as many customers as you do as to what's working and what's not working, right? And then you can go back to your customers and say, hey, we have a little bit of a crystal ball here because we can see collectively what you're all doing and how to benefit those of you that are not doing these things. I mean, that's probably not something you thought of up front, but sure enough, you got there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something we did not think about, as much as we should have probably. But go back and look at the data of our users over the last 4 or 5 years. Like one interesting thing is like direct mail has been the number one lead source in terms of the best performing in terms of lead generated and deals converted. Like that's pretty consistent, direct mail. Then you look at about 4 or 5 years ago, how SMS was pretty hot. It used to be like, in like second, third, but now like it's in top 5 now. It's like number 5, but you can see the trend that it's on its way out as it's getting more and more difficult. And then you see inbound marketing like PPC, PPL that people were not talking so much about 4 or 5 years ago, but now you see how heavily people are investing in it. But when you look at the investors that are doing 50, 100 or more deals a year, and you look at people that are starting out and that are struggling with, it's pretty easy to see when you step back and look at the data and see, okay, what is different between people that are successful versus people that are not. There's 3 things. They're consistently marketing, consistent with follow-up, and they consistently track their KPIs and change marketing decisions based on that.
Yeah, that's great.
That's what it comes down to. Like it just consistently, there's no, like it better than anyone else. There's no secret sauce to this.
Right.
It just comes down to
work.
Do the work. That's it.
Right.
Like you have it here. Ideas mean nothing. It's like without execution. That's honestly that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like it's like someone wants to lose weight, right? There's no secret to it. Like you improve your diet and you work out.
Right.
Those are the only
work out more. Yeah.
Those are the only 2 variables that you can control. There's nothing else you can do other than that. And that's the same thing with real estate investing. Like the only variables you can marketing, and are you answering your calls live? Are you getting back to the sellers on time? And as you start getting that data, you look at your data and then make data-driven decisions so you improve your marketing. And as long as you do that, it's impossible not to get a deal out.
Yeah, the only thing you can do if you're doing those things is to force yourself into where you're held accountable.
Right.
Or there's a level of accountability. And I give this example, like several years back, I saw a picture of myself, and I was like, gosh dang, I'm fat, I need to lose weight. And so I ended up, for the first time ever, hiring like a coach, like a fitness coach, right? And I lost, I've gained some of it back now, but I lost 50 pounds like 6 months, and it was like clockwork. But I had accountability. He was looking at my app, basically, not a CRM, but an app. Like, he was tracking, what am I eating?
Yep.
Am I on track? And then, am I working out through the program? This guy was overseas even. I mean, it wasn't even like, I wasn't even local. It was,
right.
I feel this level of like, I can't let this guy down. And like, the real person that mattered was me. But when you have accountability or you have data, right?
Absolutely.
You can see, because sometimes you're like, I'm eating better. And it's like, yeah, but what are you doing exactly?
Yeah.
Like, you need to track everything, which
right.
you can do with your CRM.
They
right?
can, yeah.
And you can also do, like, obviously you guys are a part of Investor Fuel. For our members that are the most accountable, those that come in that are vulnerable to share what's working and what's not, they're tracking their KPIs. Like, they always perform better because
100%.
it's your dashboard. It tells you exactly what's going on. Now, there's a lot of also real estate investors, probably all entrepreneurs, that do everything they can to avoid accountability, even though all it is doing is hurting them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to have someone hold you accountable. Like, that's why I truly believe like groups like Investor Fuel are so important.
Yeah.
Because it's a very tough business. You're running this business. It's not, and it can be very unstable. It can be, there's so many external factors that can influence the business, and you're in this own little world, and it's hard not to have this downward spiral, in your business that starts impacting your life. That's why I truly believe, like, anyone out there, like, joining a group like Investor Fuel, like, that's one thing when I look back, I'm like, okay, what would I have done differently? I would have joined a mastermind much sooner in my life.
Yeah.
Because when you're around other people, you see that they're all struggling with very similar things. And then you're collectively getting together and figuring out, okay, what's the best way out of it? And you see people that are successful, kind of what you mentioned, I'm sure you look at people through Investor Fuel, Investor Machine, and you see people that are successful, they're not doing anything that's like a secret, that they have their secret
right.
sauce. I mean, they're just following the process. They're consistently following the process.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of like being in a mastermind, is like you get that value from other investors where you may be struggling with something, and you tend to, if you isolate that problem, you tend to make it bigger than it needs to be. When you talk to other people, you're like, oh my God, like, other people have way bigger problems than I do. Mm-hmm. And the solution that I'm looking for is right there that this person has. He went through the same thing. Rather than making my own mistakes, I can just learn from the mistakes of other people. Like, there's no better value than that.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but as a guy, like, we don't, when I buy stuff, we just did a bunch of stuff out at our ranch because we bought a bunch of, furniture, and we had to furnish a whole nother house, right? And my wife is very meticulous. So the first thing she'll do when she has to assemble something is pick up the directions.
Oh my God.
The last thing I do is pick it up. I'm like, I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, but you do need to follow that playbook. Yeah. Like, you just follow directions. Most of us know what we need to do.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we just wing it. A lot of times we just wing it. But for those that are, for those that this resonates with, that you're winging it and you're not getting the results you want, it's like, maybe you should pick up that instruction manual.
100%. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, it was just funny that over the weekend I had to put something together for my kids. My wife's like, hey, why don't you read the instruction? I'm like, no, I'll figure it out. Right. I like some mystery in my life, Yeah. I want to kind of see where this goes. Right. But yeah, she's very, hey, you got to follow the directions. Right. But I mean, that's something you got to look back, step back and see, okay, if I don't follow directions in this part of my life, like, how much is it hurting me? If it's something simple like putting a piece of furniture together, I mean, if you screw up, that's not the end of the world. Right. But if it's like making decisions about your business and you make the right decision, the trajectory it can take you is totally different from versus if you don't make the right decision about it.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. So you talked a little bit about lead sources a little bit ago, and so you mentioned SMS. So let's talk about, SMS and cold calling is kind of living a slow death right now.
It is.
It was fast and it slowed down a little bit, but it's still kind of probably on the way out. So what kind of trends are you seeing there across your platform?
Yeah, like, for anyone who's not familiar now, before you can text out from any platform, there's this A2P10 DLC regulation that you need to do. Basically, register your company with your EIN number, company information. So essentially, you are like the best way to think of this is like you're creating a credit score with the carriers.
Mm-hmm.
So they look at how much spam you're sending from your company, and the more spam you're sending, the negatively it's going to impact you. They call it trust score, which is like pretty similar to like your credit score. So that's why it's getting more and more difficult. The whole idea behind texting is that you only text people that have opted in to receive text messages from you, which majority of the investors are not doing out there. You know, with platforms out there, you could pull, like just like about a couple of years ago, or even like 18 months ago, you could go pull a list, skip trace, start texting all within 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that anymore. Like you can do the first two part, pull a list and skip trace, but in order to text them, you need A to B10 DLC registration. And then you could get that, takes about a week. But as you start sending spam messages, you can get shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's actually helping bigger companies that are running a legit business. It's helping them a lot because it's weeding out some of the scam artists in the industry. So it's going to get more and more difficult. There's going to be, based on what we're hearing from Twilio, is carriers are getting regulating it more and more. So if they see that you're texting someone without their prior consent, and now how easy it is on like your phones like iPhone or Android, that you get a text and you can just click a button and report it as junk. So that's a big red flag. Imagine you text some couple of people and they're in bad mood or whatnot, they report you as junk. So that is a big red flag for carriers. So you have to be very careful. Then what happens in that case is the cell phone carriers are coming to you and saying, hey, you texted this person, they reported it as a junk. Can you prove that you texted this person after they had opted in? So the burden of proof will be on you. And imagine for a typical real estate investor, they're not doing these things.
Right.
And same thing with cold calling. The carriers look at how many people you're calling from the same number, and like how many people you're actually connecting with, how long is your call. They look at all of this, and then if they notice that there's a high number of calls that are being reported as spam, then they'll start shutting you down. So that's why, I truly believe people should start looking into investing in more inbound marketing, like direct mail, PPC, PPL, and if you have the budget, then do TV, radio. Those are more of the marketing where someone who's motivated is actually reaching out to you versus you doing outbound calling and texting to them.
So in terms of kind of best practices for people that, text is very effective when you get through to somebody. So, but a lot of times people would say, well, they called me from direct mail and I want to confirm an appointment via text.
Yeah.
So the carrier wouldn't see, all they see is you're texting somebody for the first time ever, probably, right? So what are kind of best practices to move somebody kind of to SMS after they've kind of, quote, opted in some other way?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So first of all, the opt-in does not need to happen from a website only. Yes, ideally if you have from a website, great. But when you're speaking to that person, you can just literally ask them on the phone, hey, Mike, is it okay? I'm going to come look at the house. Is it okay if I text you further details about this property?
Yeah.
And if they say yes, that's an opt-in from them. So you can just ask them over the phone. You have the call recorded. So if it were to come to you and saying, Mike, you texted this person, did they opt in? You can go back to the call recording and say, hey, here's the call recording. This person opted in to receive a text. Okay. So that's totally fine. It could be over a phone call, it could be through website, or it could be that they texted you and then they initiated a text conversation.
Yeah. I know on the email side, so email is like probably 5 years ahead, right? I mean, in terms of the texting rules. And I'm guessing it's going to be very similar. So, for example, a lot of email marketers will try to get people on their list to hit the reply button.
Right.
Because then the ESPs see, oh, they've communicated before.
Right.
So I bet a best practice for texting to somebody the first time you're texting them is to say, hey, to ask them, not just, is it okay if I text you, but to say, hey, can you just reply to me? I just want to make sure you got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if the carrier sees that they responded to you, they're like, oh, they're good. They're
friends.
the
more engagement you can get from people, so you could even change your text message to something that's like just get a yes or no. Hey, can you just confirm that we're good?
That you received this.
Yeah, rather than saying, hey, your meeting is confirmed, and you leave it at that, and there's nothing is prompting that person to reply, versus saying, hey, we're booked. It was great speaking with you. We're confirmed. Can you just please reply yes or no that we're good for that time?
Yeah.
So just, if you look at it from a AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon point of view, if they look at your account and they see you're sending thousands of messages, outbound messages, and you only get 2 replies, it makes the carrier like, okay, wait a minute, what are they sending where other person is not engaging at all?
Right.
So it's never going to be like 50-50, but if you can get more people to reply, that's definitely going to help. And then asking some open-ended question, asking some questions where you get people to reply back to you, that definitely 100% helps.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So what are some of the challenges or some of the mistakes on your platform? I know you have a lot of customers on your platform, and you kind of get visibility into their business. Like, what are, it's been a challenging couple of years for some people. Some people are thriving, right? So, what are some themes you're seeing that's working well, and then, what some other folks can learn from this? Some of the mistakes they've been making over the past couple of years that they should go back and kind of reevaluate or maybe apply to their business.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say when you look at this real estate investing business, before anything, it's a marketing business.
Right.
That it's a marketing business at its heart. As long as you're marketing, you're getting leads, and then you go down further down the funnel. If you're good with lead conversion, then you get deal. But if you stop marketing in your business, then if you don't have any leads, then you don't have any business. So one thing we notice is when people come to us and say, hey, what marketing should I start with? I would say the one that you can stick with the longest. Mm-hmm. If you're going to start something 1 month, don't see any result, you jump to another one, you try that for another month, you don't see any results, you jump to the third one, then you might as well not do it.
Right.
Just whatever you're going to do, just pick a marketing, stick with it for at least 6 months, whether it's direct mail. If you still want to do cold calling or texting, you could still do that. I do cold calling in my business, but I'm not doing it in-house. I have a company that I use, and they do all of that stuff, and they just kick leads over to us. But I've committed to them for 6 months. Yeah. Figured even if I get one deal out of it, it's going to pay for itself for next 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. That's the number one mistake that I see people make is they get all excited about, hey, I want to do this. I'm serious. They send out direct mail, 2, 3, 5,000 mail pieces. They don't get as many people to call them back, and they don't get, a deal out of it.
And they stop.
Yeah, there's something like, holy shit, I just put like $4,000 or $5,000 into it. I didn't get anything. I understand it's hard. It's hard to keep going when you put all this money out. You didn't get anything out of it. But that's the, there's like a stoic saying that obstacle is the way. Like, you have to do the hard thing. That's where you need to have the belief that people that are at the top, this is what they're doing.
Right.
There's no secret to it. 80-90% of what they're doing is this. Then they have their, list that they're pulling, like some unique process that they have. Consistency.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to do marketing, commit to marketing for at least 6 months, I would say just reconsider that if you really want to be in this business or not.
I actually just recorded a show with Brandon Bateman yesterday, and I said the same thing. If you can't commit to a channel, you should commit to a channel enough to do whatever it costs to do one deal a month.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you know it's going to cost you $6,000 in direct mail to do a deal, and you say, well, I'm just going to spend $2,000, what's the point?
You'll get one.
I realize not everybody, you're going to get one every 3 months on average. The problem is most people are going to quit before then because they're just like, this is not working.
Yeah.
But if you can't stick with it for a channel, invest enough to do a deal a month and invest in it for 6 months, and even if you don't get a deal, just keep going.
Right.
Then you should do that channel.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you cannot commit to any marketing channel for 6 months, then don't do it.
Right. Because the other thing is, I say this all the time, we're advertising to people that have been distressed for years and sometimes decades. Like, you've bought houses, I've bought houses from people that haven't updated their house in like 20 or 30 years.
Right.
And it was a slow deterioration with their house, their health, their financial situation, everything. So they didn't get distressed overnight, so why would they respond overnight? They've been procrastinating for years.
Right.
So just because they got a piece of mail from you, by the way, they got it from like 100 other people too, why are they going to just all of a sudden jump on the phone? You need to kind of keep tapping them on the shoulder,
right?
Because the time will come where they're going to pick up that phone. It's just not today.
Yeah, another example to look at this is, I like to talk about it. Let's say if you're not in the market to buy a car, you have this local Toyota or Honda dealership that's sending you a postcard once a quarter. You don't see this postcard and run to the dealership.
Right.
They're just planting a seed. That's all they're doing. Let's say a year down the road, it's like every quarter you've been getting a postcard, like whatever, they have July 4th sale, year-end sale, or whatnot. Let's say a car breaks down and you happen to be in the market for, like a Toyota or Honda or similar car. I guarantee you there's a very, very good likelihood, more likely than not, you're going to call that dealership just because they planted a seed.
Right.
That's the same thing we're doing with marketing. I think sometimes people think that when you send out marketing or follow-up, you're trying to create motivation. You cannot create motivation for someone, right? You are just basically trying to be in front of them when they actually have motivation.
When that time comes.
When that time comes. That's exactly what
I use a very similar example to you. I've used it for years about, like, you said cars, and I say, like, tires or mattresses.
Yeah.
It's like, get mattress, like, flyers all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how often do you buy a mattress? Like, not very often. But when you need it. You're like, these guys have been marketing to me.
Yeah.
There's something about reciprocity, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will just go with whoever's marketed to them the most.
100%. Yeah, no.
There's a lot of investors that send 1 or 2 postcards and then they quit.
Yeah.
And then because I get them, you probably do, because I have rentals, so I get mailers from other investors, and it's like, man, there are some companies in town that I've been around for a long time. I know who they are, like in DFW here. It's like they're consistent as hell. They're mailing me like clockwork for years and years and years for the same reason you just said.
Right.
Like, I'm not ready now, but they're hopeful that someday I will be.
Exactly. And then another thing is, when you're consistently marketing, like in the example that I gave about mattress or tire change, let's say you need a mattress or tire change, it's one thing is that you're trying to, this person has been consistently marketing. And another thing is, hey, I don't have to do any research. They've been marketing. They look pretty good. I'm just going to at least give them a call.
Right.
So then you get the lead. Now the next part is how good your sales process is.
Yeah.
If someone calls you, and let's say you call the mattress company, you go to their website and their website is down, or you call them, they don't answer the phone. That's the next step of it. But at least you want to start getting people to call you. And it's not going to happen with the first mail piece that you do. Then that's where people have this misconception with the follow-up that they're telling people that, in the follow-up, hey, we can offer cash, quick close. Everyone can do that. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to get their motivation to go up. You're just trying to stay in front of them when actually they have their motivation. It has to come from within. If you try to force them into motivation, then you're going to have contracts falling through because people are like, hey, I don't feel they'll have buyer remorse or seller remorse at that point. So as long as you let them get to the point where they feel comfortable, but you've been in front of them the whole time, that's the magic.
Yeah. And instead of representing yourself as, I pay cash and close fast, which everybody can do, or everybody says at least, not everybody can do it, but is to really kind of build a relationship with that person and really try to build the rapport, right? So,
absolutely.
Because there's a ton of people that are just like, how much you want for this dump?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that person's never going to get any deals. But if you build the relationship with them, they feel like this person really cares about me, or this person can help me more so than the other folks I've talked to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're talking to a seller and then you had an appointment with the seller and the seller says, hey, I'm sorry, I cannot make this appointment. My dog just died, for example. And you just completely gloss over it and said, okay, when are you available next? You're like, did you just completely miss that opportunity?
Right.
Did you just not care? But if you step back and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. No worries. Take your time. I'll call you in a week or so. Can I help you with anything? And just send them a text message afterwards. Or send them like flowers or something.
Yeah, you could send something, a personal handwritten note.
Exactly.
People are like, nobody else does that.
Yeah, just such a simple thing. Like just to be able to do that, like that's definitely going to help you. I mean, you're not doing it to close deals. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's amazing just doing the right thing. We've talked about in the show so far is follow the process that you know, just do the right thing. Like these aren't like, this is just like regular, this is just like obvious, should be obvious. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes the most obvious things are, like common sense is not very common. Yeah. But that's what it is. I mean, there's no secret. It's just following the process, sticking with marketing, having a good sales process, and then as you have some deals that you're closing, looking at the numbers on what is it that's working and double down on that. Anything that's not working, cut that out and take that money and put it towards what's working.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about AI. I know you guys have made some evolution there. This is a fast-moving space. Kind of state of the union on like AI And specifically, there's a lot of AI that's kind of working its way into our industry now, like especially, voice agents and stuff like that. I know you guys are rolling some of that out, and it's kind of everywhere these days, right? It's a little bit kind of scary. Yeah. It's a combination of exciting and scary as to what's going to happen with AI. But what are kind of state of the union here? What are you seeing at your end, and what are you guys doing?
Yeah, man. When ChatGPT came out, 18 months ago, right? 18 months ago or so. I was like, oh man, there was this collective excitement about it. Oh, we got to do something. But then you have to figure out, okay, there's something you can do. Yes, you can do on the content side, like writing emails, messages, but is that the best use of it? No. We wanted to work on something that's like truly going to add value, that is going to help people buy back their time. Mm-hmm. So just 10 days ago, March 1st, we rolled out a voice AI. So, and more people than we were initially anticipating. We didn't make a big push about it. We just, did a preview of, like, it was part of a bunch of updates that we rolled out, and we just did a preview. And then more than the number of people that we were initially expecting in 10 days are using us. And just the fact that how good the AI is, I mean, you can tell it's AI, the prompt is when the AI picks up the call, it says, hey, this is Joe. I'm an AI phone agent with ABC
so
company.
So you just say it up front.
Yeah, no, that's just to be compliant. We always have, that's something you cannot even change. We're not trying to pass it off as a real human.
Right.
So we want to make sure that the person who's calling in, they know, they're aware that this is an AI answering the call. If you ask the AI, hey, who are you? It'll say, hey, I'm just a digital assistant. I'm not a real human. So it'll say all that thing. But honestly, we're noticing majority of the people that are calling in, they don't even care.
They don't care.
They have someone that's answering the call. Yeah. Like I was telling you before the call, one of our investors messaged me the second day that we rolled out. He had an 80-year-old person call in, speak with the AI for 12 minutes. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And I was just there, okay, sounds good.
People just want solutions. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it can... So some people probably don't even hear that. What did you say? I don't even know what you just said. But there's also people that are this is a side note, but this is out at our ranch. We had a power outage. This is 4 or 5 months ago. And I called into the Encore, which is our TXU, one of the two that provides the power, and it was an AI agent, and it was clear. I don't think it said it was, but it was kind of robotic.
Right.
My first thought was I was kind of irritated, and then it just helped. Literally, I used my voice, tell me your address. I told them an address. I didn't have to type anything in, and they were just oh, we see there is a power outage. Somebody will be there within 60 minutes to solve the problem. Right. And I was like, dang, they just totally solved my problem, and I didn't have to talk to it.
Exactly.
It was nice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then it's going to happen more and more.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
It's going to happen more and more just because that's so much more efficient. Imagine you're not the only one with a power outage. There's probably a bunch of people. They're all calling in at the same time. If all the calls were being answered by humans, you're going to be on hold.
On hold for an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, you don't have to do that. If you're getting the solution, people will start getting more and more comfortable with it. So, you can have the AI, most of the calls that we're noticing will last about 2-3 minutes. The AI will ask their name, the address, why are they wanting to sell, the other motivation price of that they're looking for, any repairs done, the timeline. It's asking all these questions. Then it'll say, then you can have the AI transfer the call to you. You can have AI send a booking link, or you can just have AI say, okay, thank you so much. We'll have someone from our team call you back. And it just does that.
So at this point, it's not actually scheduling appointments. It'll send you a link.
It'll just send a Calendly link or something just to do that.
Yeah.
Just because depending on who wants to go on the appointment, we didn't want to make it super complicated. This we just rolled out 10 days ago. So we already have a bunch of people, with feedback. Hey, this is great. I love it. Can we do this? Can we? So it'll be adding more and more of that. We'll book an appointment.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I happen to know. I'm sure you see this too because of your platform. But we know on the Investor Machine side that, we have customers spending a lot of money with us collectively and individually, and we track their calls, and most investors on average are still answering the phone less than 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And so it's you just and part of it is they're either on another call or they're busy
Yep.
or they're like that person that was supposed to do it is out sick today.
Yeah.
AI like eliminates all that, right?
Yeah. So if you don't use, like, good number of our investors are using it as a first answering response to it, and then you can have, if the person calls back for the second time, you can have it go to a real human if you want, but just at least having it as the backup in case you don't pick up. Like, we had another call, I listened to another call, this was somebody in Texas, the person called in after hours. If AI was not there, he would have missed the call. Maybe or maybe not, the person would have left a message, the caller. But AI picked up the call. He talked for like good 4.5 minutes, sharing everything about his condo, that he is going, the tenant is not paying, when they did the last repairs, how long have the tenants been paying for, when did they stop paying, how much are they looking for that. Like, you have all that information.
Yep.
Like, imagine having all that information versus if you're using AI, versus if you were not, then you just completely missed that opportunity to speak with the seller.
Yep.
Yeah. And that person did not care. Like, it said, hey, I'm an AI phone agent. How can I help you? And then people just want solutions, like you said. And then just because it's going to become more and more common, if you're not adopting to it, like, you're going to be left behind.
That's right.
Yeah.
In my experience, like what makes like a super successful real estate investor, like financially and kind of happiness wise, freedom wise, I guess, and somebody that is either failing or just surviving, is doing a bunch of things a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's not like some transformational thing. It's like they answer the phone live a little bit better. They do follow up a little bit better. They, they just do all these things a little bit better on the fringe, and that is not, their results aren't just a little bit better. They're
Absolutely.
like double or triple.
Yeah. And it's so inexpensive. It's like 25 cents a minute.
Right.
And you pay for when you actually use it. Like, it's like if you have
And
any
those leads, depending on where they're coming from, are probably anywhere from a few hundred to $1,000 plus.
Exactly.
So
just like for
it's insignificant.
25 cents a minute. So
Yeah.
even if you have an AI on the phone for full hour, that's like $15 an hour. So imagine you're paying an employee only when they're actually on doing the work.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, like 25 cents a minute to do that, which comes to like $15 an hour. But you're only paying for the time that AI is actually on the call. And you never ever are going to miss a call from a person, from a lead again.
So pretty amazing stuff. So in addition to AI, like, where is tech going? Where do you see things going over the next, even just kind of short-term year or two?
I think AI would be a big part of it. We're looking into, like, right now, the AI can take the initial call. It doesn't have any contextual information, so we're working on adding contextual information. So when a person calls back and you've had a bunch of conversation, like, AI doesn't have any context of that. So we're working on adding that contextual information to the AI so it can just pick up wherever you left off, so it doesn't ask the same questions again. And then looking at, like, outbound stuff, that's where a little bit more regulations are. Inbound, it's a little bit less regulated, but when you're having an AI make an outbound call, it's more regulated. So that just more automations, I think. What else are you doing in your business right now that you can have AI or some sort of a tech automate that? That's kind of what we're looking at. So you basically set it and forget it, and recently or whatever platform you're using, it just does this stuff for you, just without you having to think about it. I think that's the stuff I'm excited about. Yeah. And then, but the biggest risk always is, okay, after you have looked at everything that's out there, what else is out there that you're not even thinking about? Like, for example, when COVID happened, like, no one was planning for that in 2019. Oh, next year COVID is going to happen. Let's just do this. So that's the stuff that I'm not, to me, that's the risk factor, is after you've looked at everything, okay, what else is beyond your control that may happen? The political environment, it could be the war, it could be like the tariffs, or it could be any of that. Like, how would you handle that if and when that something beyond your control were to happen that you're not even seeing right now?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just do the reps now, like do the work now, build the foundation now, so that if something bad happens, you're better off. If something good happens, you can fly forward even faster, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Sharad, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. It's been great.
It's an exciting space. So, if folks want to learn more about you or RE Simply or anything else, how do they find out more?
Yeah, if they want to learn more about kind of what we're doing at BreezeSimply, so BreezeSimply is an all-in-one software. It helps you everything from your data, list pulling, list stacking, driving per dollar, your marketing, your sales side of it, operation side of it. So basically a true all-in-one software. So if you have anything you want to learn more about, you can go to resimpli.com and learn more about it. You can start a trial, book a demo with our team, and get any of your questions answered.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Everybody, tech is moving fast in this space, in the real estate space, and I think you want to make sure you're on the forefront of it as much as possible. And the reality is you don't have to know how to do all these things. You just have to know who to work with to do these things, right? You don't have to go create your own CRM. You don't have to do all your own marketing. At the end of the day, I think what does separate a lot of professional, like really successful real estate investors and even entrepreneurs is they just find the right partners to work with to do the things that they're never going to be as good at. Like you're never going to be as good at a marketing agency that has hundreds of customers as to do it yourself, right? You just don't have that learning curve to learn from those things. So make sure you're following kind of leaders in the tech space. And Sharad, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike, for having me. It was
Yeah.
really great.
Everybody, hope you got some good insights from today. We appreciate you a bunch, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.